means moving up.
It's about time.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. If you could please put your phones on mute. All right, so the first order of business is to have the second reading of the fast food ordinance. It's canceled. It's canceled?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's going back to the planning commission.
okay.
There's, from the last meeting that we had, public meeting, we had some changes that were suggested that are being worked on.
Okay. Then I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, motion to adopt the agenda of May 13th, 2025.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 4-0. I need a motion to approve the regular minutes from the April 8th, 2025 meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt the minutes from the regular meeting of April 8, 2025.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 4-0. And I need a motion to approve the reorganization minutes from April 22, 2025.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the reorganization minutes from the April 22nd meeting, 2025.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Passes 4-0. Moving on to communications. There is in your packet the minutes of the annual report of the Historic Village. I'm not going to go through it. I think you've all read it. It's a monthly update on what has happened over the past year. So we'll move into reports. First report is financial report from Don Parks.
Thank you. Before you have the monthly financial update as of April 30th, 2025. Ending our fiscal year, we collected 99.78% of our FY25 taxes. We had 27 property owners take advantage of their early payment discount this last year in the amount of $27,496. The FY26 tax bills were processed and available online on May 1st. They will be postmarked by June 6th. The taxpayers will have till July 31st to take advantage of the 1% discount and need to be paid by August 31st to avoid penalties starting September 1st. Moving on to our reserve and committed funds. Our emergency reserve trust fund is funded at just a little over 20% of our FY25 budget with a balance of $1,184,731. Our capital replacement trust has a balance of $1,321,066, and the street repair and replacement trust has a balance of $1,302,634. The American Rescue Plan Act has a remaining balance of $253,052, with the balance being encumbered for the 803 Avenue parking lot, the Burson's Natural Area and Park, and a storage building for our holiday decor. Our Emergency Services Enhancement Fund, the amount collected as of the end of April 2025 consists of 53 new home construction permits. We had budgeted for 45, so we were over what we thought was coming in this year. Those two new, or basically that Silverwoods, I guess, is coming in pretty hot right now. There's a balance of $1,023,628 after the two disbursements for FY25. Transfer taxes, we've received our collections from the end of April, so this ends our fiscal year. It was 20.7% of new construction, 8.7 from land sales, and 62.6 from resales. That comes out to, for the year, 26 new homes, 71 land sales, and 106 resales. We actually ended the year $436,000 above where we had budgeted for FY25. Your financial recap for the end of April is located on pages 3 of 4, along with our analytics on pages 5 and 6. Of course, we talked, our end of the fiscal year ended April 30th. Of course, we're going to continue to post prior year invoices and revenues that come in after the end of the fiscal year. We'll continue to do that through June 30th, and our audit has been tentatively scheduled for the week of July 14th. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Dawn. I have a question.
Sure.
With the real estate tax, if you go back to the first page, where you say that 99.78%, 78% of the taxes have been collected, and the amount due is $12,680.
Yep.
You go to the next page, the third page, it says property tax revenue. It's 3.2 million actual versus 3.3 budget, 62,000 under. Why is
Yes.
there a difference?
Because the revenue, this is actual collections. Revenue is as of the time of what we billed, not necessarily what's collected. The 62, you actually need to take the discount and kind of net that, because the tax revenue is what was billed. It's not netted to discount. So then you take out the discount portion amount of that, and we're really not that far off. New construction didn't start picking up until over the summer, so it did not get part of our mid-year billing last year. So it came in after the cutoff date. They started at the end of the summer, starting September, October, November, we started getting more and more homes, new homes selling. So our new construction estimate is didn't come in as what I was thinking it was going to. I thought it'd be sooner in the year.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Did you understand that?
I did.
I didn't.
Okay, you want me to get her?
It has to do with the adopted budget,
Yes, well, it was
and
what,
our forecasting, as opposed to actual, billing and when things are received, but.
So what I got out of that was that the new construction was overestimated,
Okay.
but it wasn't realized.
Okay. Good, thanks.
so the tax revenue is what was actually billed,
Not necessarily collected either.
not collected.
Perfect.
It's what was billed. We will collect it at some point, but it was what was billed.
And less the discount.
Less the
That's
discount.
the discount.
Yeah. I have a question, another question. On the second paragraph, you state the assessments that were posted on February 15, 2025, $1,393,000,000.
That's the assessed value.
That's the assessed value, correct. The property tax bills totaled $35.93 for that assessment, correct?
Or what we billed, yes.
For what we billed. So the new one that people will be getting, of course, the assessment's done. Our rate's been set. So do you have that figure, or will that be in the next meeting?
Well, this is the figure that we billed this year. They were available on May 1st online. We don't print them until after we receive our transfers for April. We don't want those bills to go to property owners that no longer live there.
Okay.
So the bills are going to be printed next week, and then they'll be mailed by June 6th.
But I think,
Do you mean the individual properties
Yes.
amounts? Yeah, that's available online.
It's available online.
So assessments and rates, two different things, we know that. So we billed out 3,593,000 and change. What did we bill out last year?
I'd have to,
Is it up or down, generally speaking? About the same?
I'll look at it and I can get back with you.
Okay.
I don't wanna say that it was,
I'm not looking, you know, if there's a couple $100,000 discrepancy.
It's not less.
no, but, well, let's look.
I don't believe so.
We billed total property tax revenue, 3.2 million last year, and we're doing 3.5 this year. The actual property tax revenue,
Okay.
so we billed out 3.2 million. For the total, and that included half-year construction.
Okay.
And this year, we've billed out 3.5.
We will bill out.
We billed out on May 1st.
For the new
Yeah.
fiscal year.
Right, we haven't got it
Yeah.
yet, but it's
Yeah.
on.
Haven't
Haven't
got
got
it
it
yet, but
Okay, thank
we
you.
have people in there paying already.
Thank you.
Wow. Any other questions for Dawn? If not, thank you. Moving on to the public safety report, Chief.
Yes, Mayor. You've got a data report that's included in your packet. It gives a breakdown of our stats for last month and year to date. A couple highlights. There was 2 responses reported in the town of Millville. The volunteer unit logged 173 hours of service. Under miscellaneous, Officer Tara Mazza was recognized for her life-saving efforts on April 4th during the annual Phoenix Award ceremony hosted by Sussex County EMS at Deltec Community College. On April 11th, we had the Delaware Police Accreditation Commission on site for a final inspection at the Ocean View Police Department. This is part of a reaccreditation process that we have to go through every 3 years as part of our police accreditation in the state of Delaware. They came back on April 29th and voted unanimously to award us reaccreditation. They found us in compliance with 100% of the accreditation mandates, and we were awarded reaccreditation for a period of 3 years. So we're very happy about that. Kudos to Captain Hall and our new employee Kendall Hearn, the accreditation manager, for all the hard work they did on that reaccreditation.
Did that get in the Coastal Point?
Information was
Yeah,
provided to them, so they've got it. We did put something on our police Facebook page.
And it'll be in our newsletter.
Yep.
I didn't see anything.
Let's see, a couple other things to point out. Sergeant Maurice Bradshaw, the SRO at Lord Baltimore Elementary School, hosted Bike Safety Rodeo. That went very well. You're aware that we had our FOP and OVPD fundraising golf tournament at Bear Trap Dunes on April 14th. Although I don't have the final number, the event raised definitely over $15,000 that we're going to be able to apply to Cops and Goblins to make that a go again this year. Cops and Goblins is scheduled for Saturday, October 25th, with a rain date on October 26th.
And that exceeds what we anticipated for the budget that was approved.
Police Appreciation Day is May 15th. Typically on that day, we have a little ceremony out in front of the police department. We're not going to be able to do that this year. Just, we've got a whole bunch of scheduling conflicts, so we're not going to be doing that this year. The police memorial flag will be raised that morning at the police department, but there will not be any kind of gathering. I want to point out that it's going to be an Artisans Fair at Lord Baltimore School on May 25th. That's usually a pretty big event in Ocean View, so put that on your calendars. That'll be going on May 25th. I also want to announce that I'm pretty proud of this. Author, PhD, John Shane, who's a professor at John Jay College, wrote a book about the Ocean View Police Department. It's called Advancing Proactive Policing, Lessons from Ocean View, Delaware. Goes back to Ocean View in circa 2018. Talks about the staffing analysis and the models that we created and are since refined. And we're pretty proud of that there was enough interest in what we're doing there in Ocean View to generate a book. That book is more designed for police researchers and college criminal justice type students. It is available on Amazon for about $60. So with that, I'll entertain any questions the council may have.
Thank you, Chief. I want to congratulate you again for all the hard work that the police force put together for that tournament. That you responded so quickly to a comment that was made here in the town council about trying to find more funding to be able to fund Cops and Goblins. And it was a first-class event. A lot of people had a good time. And I want to thank you for stepping up and...
Well, I wish I could take all the credit, but I can't. As like everything we do around here, it's a big team effort. Mark Burton and Carol played a big role in it. They led the efforts, and again, with a lot of hands in the pot there to get that done in about 30 days. So a lot went into it. Thank you to all the sponsors that stepped up and supported us. I think it was a great example of what the community thinks about Cops and Goblins in the event, and how important it's become to the community. So we're happy that we're going to be able to do it again this year.
A very dedicated group, a committee. Dawn was definitely the basket lady, got everything organized, and we're very fortunate with all the people who came forward.
Chief, I got a couple of questions on your monthly report.
Yep.
I saw in April that you had a shots fired incident.
Yes.
Could you say a little bit about that?
Well, I don't have all the, I'd have to look that up and get back to you. I don't have all the details. It could simply just be reports of shots being fired, and the officers get there, and there's not an issue. We did, it's not typical, it's not unusual this time of the year, like the fall when waterfowl season opens up. This time of the year, it's spring turkey season. So we do get shooting that takes place early in the morning on the outskirts of town. But I'm not sure exactly what that is. I can look that up and get back to you.
Okay.
I can tell you it wasn't a criminal-related activity. Though.
Okay, thanks. And I have a question here on your incident data pivot reports.
Yes.
I've seen it before, but I don't know why I haven't asked you about it. How is this different from the other monthly data reports in which you highlight some incidents, but they're not all of them?
Well, I think the one that you're referring to is, say on the upper right-hand side, MV Council Report.
Yes.
So that's a record of the running calls for the year in the town of Millville. So the council had asked for a little bit more detail as to what the type of calls were, the amount of time that we're spending on those calls, and we capture that data there.
Okay, thank you.
We've been doing this for, what, 4 years?
Yes, a
About
couple
4
years
years.
now that we're doing that, tracking that. I think there was a concern back initially that we were responding there to just any and all calls. If you see the incident types, medical assist, mental patients, disorderly conducts, domestics, assaults, the more serious type calls that were going on. We don't respond unless we're dispatched by the county dispatch center. This just to give you an idea of what we're doing over in Millville particularly.
We also, I'll just remind everybody that we started doing this because when we were engaged with Millville and also DSP, Delaware State Police, the anecdotal information was that, well, you're only doing for this, or you're doing for that, or it wasn't that much, or whatever. So we said, well, we need data, so we started collecting it. This data will be helpful with our risk analysis that
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
starting now as well. So it's great that we started collecting it, and you know, now we can go to the table eventually with more factual information to explain, you know, what's going on.
This is kind of too a good example of what Dr. Shane was focusing the book on, that how we're collecting data, how we're using that data to not only for staffing analysis, but to measure police performance as well. So this is just one example of how we can quickly extract data from you know, our files to and put together a report for council.
Thank you. Any other questions for the chief?
One question, one comment. Chief, I remember a couple of years ago, you gave me, I don't know whether it was a chapter or something from the book that I read. It was interesting, and I gleaned a lot from it as far as what Ocean View does and how he recommends other departments to follow that. You mentioned something about an artisan fair at Lord Baltimore,
Yes,
and you said on the 25th.
yes, I'm going to say that.
That's a Sunday.
Yes,
And it's Memorial Day weekend on
yes,
They,
Yeah.
okay,
yep.
okay.
It's a big event. They do it at Lord Baltimore School annually, and we usually assign an officer there as a special duty assignment just to assist with the traffic control because you know, it gets quite congested there at the intersection of Old School Lane and Route 26. So we'll be out there in the morning.
Okay.
There'll also be the Fun and Fit Fair fundraiser the 21st,
Yes.
the weekend before, so, and some
We
of
just
our
had the,
staff are assisting with that as well.
Chamber of Commerce event, I'll talk about that
Yeah,
in
you
my
spoke-
next month's report.
you
but,
spoke at that.
We've got a lot going on. We've been staying very busy. So our spring and our fall now are really big. It seems like it's starting earlier, ending later every year.
My wife was at the Chamber of Commerce, and you were the one of the speakers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the shoplifting event, and we also had the bicycle event, the big chamber bicycle event. What was that, 2 weekends ago now?
Right. And one last question: how has it been going at LB? I know the year's not over, but Officer Bradshaw, not programs I understand when he's got in, but as far as any increase or decrease in any type of what we would consider criminal activity, or
No, I'd say it's about the same.
About the same.
Town manager and I were at a meeting last night with the school district. There was a financial committee meeting, planning meeting, and I think there was reference made that LB is the safest by far elementary school in the Indian River School District. With that being said, our SRO is very busy. You know, so there's a lot going on every day. It's a busy place, but crime-wise, almost non-existent at Lord Baltimore.
there's several new school board members that take over July 1st, I think. Obviously, we get some commitments from the Indian River School District financially to offset Officer Bradshaw and the SRO. At that finance committee, were you getting a feel or talking about, or were the committees handled differently than when obviously you and I have been chief a couple times?
Yeah, about the same as last year, kind of up in the air.
No
You know,
decisions
that
made, no
meeting really-
recommendations.
Yeah, it's not a decision-making committee. I think they, you know, it's more the line of that they make recommendations to the school board. But I don't know, I really didn't get a feel one way or the other definitively what's going to happen this year. Obviously, the district has some funding issues. They're going, we've got another referendum
Six.
coming up.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have to believe that that will impact the district-wide, the SRO programs. To what extent, I don't know. I think that's, we're gonna have to wait and see.
We were able to make comments, and we had prepared a short PowerPoint that we were able to hand out. And then we were able to ensure that additional information that we had already shared in April went to the committee today. So it had not been previously provided, so. We'll likely have to go to the actual board meetings again, unless we hear something else before that.
Does their fiscal year end of June, begin July?
I believe
I
they're
believe
July
so,
1st,
yeah.
yeah.
Again, no indication. I think it's a toss-up at this. I think the referendum, the outcome of the referendum is going to play a big role in that as well. So we're just going to have to sit back and see what happens.
Well, when you lose, you only get affirmative vote to 12 districts or 13 districts, nothing's changed, and they're hoping for a different result. Ooh. Okay.
Any further questions from the chief?
No.
Thank you. Moving on to the planning and zoning report. Mr. Semino.
Thank you, Madam Reddick. Shore Vista Community contractors continue their work on constructing the roadway while preparing to begin utility installations within the right-of-way. Silverwood's mixed-use plan community, construction of dwelling units in phase 1 is nearing completion. About 10 new units that are under construction and should be ready for final inspections and COs here the 1st of June. Construction of dwelling units in phase 2A1 and 2A2. There's a chart in your little packet here so you can understand what I'm talking about. See the next page over. There's the plan sheet. The construction of the dwelling units in those phases has commenced. Work on roadway limits and utility construction in phase 2B has been completed. Work on the roadway limits and utility construction in phase 2C and 2D continue. Ocean View Beach Club, final surface pavement continues. They are in a holding pattern right now with their contractor. I anticipate that to get started back up here later this summer or in the fall, and looking forward to turn over those roads later this year. Landscaping plan for the community has been revised by the developer. It's been reviewed by myself and the town engineer, and we have accepted it. Plantings are scheduled for the fall planting season, which will be after October 1st. The ordinance amending sections 14024, 14028, and 152 of the Land Use and Development Code, commonly known as the fast food ordinance, has been revised to address public comment and will be reviewed by the Planning Commission on July 17th, 2025. That's why there was no reading and potential vote today. Capital Improvement Project. The Woodland Avenue sidewalk project continues. All of the sidewalk and drainage features and the grading have been completed. Contractor is currently waiting for 2 of our constituents to install sewer laterals over to their properties. The sewer main is in the center of the road. So one has been completed, the other is anticipated to be completed this Thursday. After that, final surface paving is scheduled for the week of Memorial Day, to commence Tuesday, May 27, 2025, and it will finish that week. Maintenance operations, it's been a busy spring on my end, the things that we do in our office. The FY25 paving project was completed. We paved Osprey Lane, William Avenue, and Canal Court. They were both milled and paved. This project is completed, $20,000 less than the contract award, so it's always good to save money. Street sweeping was completed, our semi-annual street sweeping was completed the week of May the 5th. We try to sweep all of our parks, all of our communities that have curb and gutter. Some of the ones that were swept this spring were Avon Park, Bear Trap Dunes, Silverwood, Hunters Run, Fairway Village, and Savannah's Landing. Tree maintenance was performed in Hunters Run community to all streets within the right-of-way. Contractors trimmed all the trees, all the street trees that are between the sidewalks and the roadway. There are trees that are within our right-of-way. They were trimmed for a height above sidewalk and height above the roadway. Illness and rain have cut us short. We have one more day out there, and we'll probably be back out there next Monday, May the 19th. Roadway repairs to Magnolia Street and Bear Trap Dunes. We received bids from our contractors. Bids have been accepted. We haven't got a start date, but I think we'll probably do that sometime in June. Won't be a big impact on the traffic in the community. Should be one day in, one day out. Concrete repairs to the sidewalk along West Avenue, right across the street here at Oakwood. They're planned for the near future. What we have is most likely trash trucks turning left off of Oakwood or running up on the sidewalk, and they're breaking the sidewalk. So we are going to repair it, and we are going to, instead of putting 4-inch sidewalk in, we're going to go with 6-inch sidewalk, 4,500 PSI. And so that way it will be able to withstand the weight of the trash trucks. Code enforcement, staff issued 10 violations for failure to obtain business license and/or building permits or property maintenance. One of those license violations turned into, resulted in criminal summons to court. Ocean View Police Department responded to the issues we had with the contractor and peacefully resolved the issue. And Steve, you want to talk about that a little bit, or just move on?
We're touch and go there for a little while, but the owner coming to impound the dump truck and issue a couple criminal summonses for failing to have business license. I think it was a disorderly conduct charge, and hindering a police investigation. So, but we worked well with Ken and his department and got the issue resolved.
Permits, COs, business and rental license numbers for your review. Any questions, be happy to answer them.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if this is the right forum to ask the question, but the fire that took place in Beach Club, according to the newspaper, there was fireworks that went off, some of which were rockets that went through the roof.
Wow.
I thought that was illegal in Delaware.
I think you're looking at the wrong guy.
Purchase.
That is correct. Fireworks in the state of Delaware are supposed to be all ground-based fireworks. They're only permitted during certain times of the year, 4th of July. Other than that, they're heavily restricted. So,
But storage, I mean, purchased it somewhere and then stored it.
yeah, but honestly, the possession is against the law. Unfortunately, in this case, all the evidence was destroyed. But,
Unless you look at the
yes,
video.
there was some we had officers on scene within about 3 minutes of that call going out. I can tell you the fire department was on scene in 4 minutes. Very rapid response from both Millville and Bethany Beach Fire Company. I'm sure you saw the end result. There was a lot of devastation associated with that fire. I think had they not gotten there so quickly, that we would have probably lost at least two more homes. The homes on either side, they're only separated by 20 feet,
So,
or thereabouts. And
so the response time,
Yep.
I'm getting feedback 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I was there, and I know it didn't
I
take.
tell you, on
So
the
is there
fire
a-
side, it was 4 minutes.
Right, is there documentation, like?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the Millville Fire Company, Chief Scott can absolutely provide that. So that's tracked via the countywide CAD or computer aided dispatch system. And I can tell you, we reviewed that, it was 4 minutes, the fire company was on scene.
Right.
So it was a very quick response by that.
But I just, I like to see that, so I can say, feedback, say, no, it didn't. I know it didn't because I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we had officers on scene as well.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you, we've got body camera video of it, so,
11 trucks were there.
yeah, we had a big response,
Yeah.
not
Ocean
just
City.
Millville and
Ocean
Bethany,
City,
but
right.
Yeah.
Ocean City, Maryland, Frankfurt, Dagsburg fire companies. So, it was, you were out there, so you saw there was a very robust response from the fire company.
So one of the pieces of information about how the fire started was spontaneous combustion of the bark mulch.
Yeah, that's what the.
But was that pine straw mulch or bark mulch?
I don't know, but the fire marshal did conclude that it was a spontaneous combustion of the mulch material that had been applied to the side of the house.
Yeah, well, a lot of homes have bark mulch, but nobody's has had spontaneous combustion.
I would say
I
this,
would-
it is unusual.
So
But
that's
it's
why.
not unusual if, these bulk storage areas, landscape areas for large mulch piles to have
But
fire
the
starters.
reason, I mean, pine straw is more combustible than bark mulch.
Yeah.
So I'm
This
wondering-
was bark mulch, it wasn't,
Okay.
pine needles, or
Yeah.
pine sheds.
Okay. Any other questions for Ken?
Sorry. Not my-
Seminole, Ken Seminole.
Not my area, that's for Chief. Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the town manager's report. Carol?
Yes, Mayor and Council, we already spoke about the golf tournament, and I shared some information and some photos in my report, but yes, it was great attendance, and of course, Chief has already reported that the amount that was made is in excess of what we anticipated fundraising would make in the budget. So that's great to hear. First, you held your organizational meeting on April 22nd. We have Councilman Cobb and Councilwoman Twardzik returning, and Councilman Walsh was voted as the Mayor Pro Tem. We are working on some charter change items that'll come to council in the months ahead. So just shared some information about that. Also just shared some information about the start of the fiscal year and the various contracts that are reinitiated, and a little bit later we'll have a recommendation to that effect. We have launched the two analysis that were supported in the FY26 budget. One is a police compensation analysis study, and one is the International Association of Chiefs of Police risk analysis. Again, that was mentioned a little bit earlier in relationship with our keeping track of our calls outside of the town. DENREC, we did get approval of our grant modification that was necessary as a result of our outdoor classroom, meeting room space in the Burzins natural area being funded by DelDOT TAP funds. So we were able to get the money redirected to the pavilion for the park. So that was some good news to have. We didn't have to lose those funds. We also finally got the funding for, released rather, it was tied up in some of the federal holdups for our door access grant to expand our door access, our card access at 201 Central. And then this year's grant funds, we will be submitting a grant request for the maintenance facility, and that will kind of facilitate us getting out of the key business for the most part, and having the card access, which is of course monitored and maintained Town Road, I provided a lot of information for record sake, so to speak, but as you all know, we have had, we've looked at this situation, and solicitor and Ken and I will be working on, you know, what can we bring to council to make some decisions about what we may or may not want to do. Of course, it's called Town Road, but it's not a town road. There is intent, there was intent at some point in time in the past for the town to take the road. The road is unattractive, it floods, it doesn't do the businesses that pay town taxes any good, doesn't do the town any good because everybody thinks it's ours. I get calls regularly about potholes. So we're going to try to bring to you this year some information to give us direction and hopefully bring this issue to a decision where we know we're doing it, we're not doing it, what is it going to be, so it's not kind of hanging over our heads, and when people call, I know what to say. So again, that's there. Had a couple conversations with people this week about it. Water infrastructure sale, remaining funds. I did spend a good deal of time preparing the initial framework for a discussion. We won't bring that to you until everything is, signed, sealed, delivered, which it is. We closed on April 1st, but there's still invoices and things like that that are crossing, and so we'll be ready, as soon as everything is finalized to be able to make some presentations to council and get some direction. Okay. Then some information on outreach and engagement for the month. But I wanted to share, it's legislative session. Of course, the session will end the end of June. Things have been ramping up. There are bills that are coming through that I wanted to make sure I brought to your attention. So I gave them to you at the table today, and I'll keep trying to keep up with it because it gets fast and furious, and either our legislators or the League of Local Governments or SCAT may want us to give opinions, the town's opinions, so sometimes we have to be, sometimes it's crystal clear what our opinion may be, sometimes I may need to reach out to you if it's not too clear, but these three bills that I provided information, one is HB 48 related to accessible parking. Doesn't seem like this one would impact us too very much, but there might be some things that we might have to look at for private lots and signage and things like that. SB 87 is related to accessory dwelling units. If it's approved as it currently is prepared, it would be a significant change to the town of Ocean View, who does not allow and has not during all our planning process and our comprehensive planning process, allow accessory dwelling units. There's some things that we would be able to do to put some controls in it, again, as it is currently written. And we have shared our concerns and home rule concerns with our state representatives, and Senator Hocker has advised that he has great concerns for the bill as well for the towns. So again, a lot of work going on with that, with the league and SCAT as well. HB 135 is related to a homelessness bill. It could have significant impact in regards to our ability to regulate where someone experiencing homelessness can set up their, I'm going to use the term from the bill, their adequate alternative indoor space. So a lot of, I shot out questions today to the league lobbyist for interpretation, and I'll continue to share that. But I would encourage you to read the bills and share any information or thoughts that you may want me to pass along. Because as I said, things are ramping up, and it seems to be a busy end of the session this year with some things. There's also another, Councilman Cobb just brought to my attention another bill that he's aware of for marijuana distribution centers, and I will be looking into that. I'm not familiar at this point in time. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that I brought that to your attention. That's all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions for Carol? Thank you very much. Moving on to the Public Works report. Matt?
All right, with the warmer weather, we've been busy getting out and inspecting everything, pulling weeds. We mulched the Memorial Star Park. I met with Jeff Millay, Certified Playground Safety Inspector at the playground, to go over a few things and concerns we might have. There was some moisture collecting in the electrical boxes throughout the dog park. The guys went around and fixed, I think there were 6 of them, or we raised them up and took the boxes out and put stone down, maybe dug about 1.5 feet and tried to get some of that water out of there and repositioned the electrical boxes inside. Went around the park and fixed a lot of the broken fence that was caused either by the snow or the winter, from the winter damage. Cleaned up the gutters and pavilions. Greg Rosner is one of our part-time employees, but he's a fantastic artist. He does it on the side, and he's been doing a lot of, we always stick him with the painting jobs. And he does a good job. There's that new, I guess it's like a photo op board out there. It says, "We love Ocean View." So just can go out there and get your pictures taken after we leave. North Star came in and installed 2 new furnaces on the 2nd floor, 201. We also, Public Works, we noticed there was a lot of water collecting over by the chief's sheds. So we put a little catch basin and drained the water out to the pond there. Again, cleaned up the landscape beds. Around town, we're gonna plant some landscaping, do some landscaping around some of these signs and mulch and try to dress them up. I know there's been a concern with watering, but we asked Fairchild if we'd use one of their they have 275-gallon containers that they're throwing out. So we grabbed one of them and converted it into a watering tank. So now we have the means to go around town and do all the watering for any kind of job. So we look forward to dressing things up around the signs and making them look better. But now we've been busy. In the pictures here, we had an old leaf vac that wasn't running, so we got that up and running and took a trailer that was destined for the dump, and it all worked out. So now we have a leaf vac that we can go around town and do a lot of cleanup with that as well. So, do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Great.
The playground safety inspector, did he find any safety concerns?
There were some minor concerns, but we've already started to address them. Like, for example, the Tidler gate over there needs to be self-closing. It's a couple new hinges, and we've done that already. There are some low areas with the playground mulch. We need to break that into the more active areas to make it bigger. We'll maybe bring in some more of that. I think it's called jelly bean mulch in to address those issues.
No safety concerns with the equipment?
No, not at this time.
Good, thank you. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much. Moving on to the Millville Volunteer Fire Department report. There were 280 calls last month compared to 224 calls the year before, so it was up 25%. And of those 280 calls, 230 of them were EMS calls, compared to 184 last year. For the town of Ocean View, there were 40 calls, up from 21, so almost up 50% from the year before. Any questions on that report? Thank you. Moving on to citizens' privilege on the items of the pre-published agenda. List for discussion and consideration, or items subsequently added at any time. If anyone chooses to speak at the first citizens' privilege, she or he may not speak on the same topic at the second citizens' privilege. So we have 2 people in the audience. Do you have any questions or comments? Yes. Please state your name and your address.
Hi, I'm Kitty Rarick, 8 Wadewind. And I just want to say that, like, I enjoy living here in the town of Ocean View, but I've always had a wish that it was more walkable and bikeable, and I just want to thank the town and town council and specifically Ken. I love the sidewalks. Anytime someone says, oh, do you think we need sidewalks? I'm like, absolutely we do. And my hope is that as we get more sidewalks, that maybe people won't drive their car so much and they will walk and bike, because everything is within walking and biking distance. Like you can get to the grocery store, the bank, the post office, everything's close by. So having sidewalks that you can get there safer, I think is just wonderful. So I just want to say thanks.
Well, thank you for saying thanks. We feel the same way. We would like to see a lot more walkways. It's the money that is the constraint. So, but we are getting there.
When I was driving over here from our building to come to the meeting, it occurred to me again coming down west, just how different it looks. It looks like a community. It didn't look like a neighborhood before we had the sidewalks. And it just struck me again because it, you know, a little drizzly out and everything, but it's definitely an improvement. And Ken has worked very hard on it, and council has supported it, and we appreciate it.
And I have to say, I usually walk here, but I didn't have to drive because of the
Any other questions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to new business. And the introduction of an ordinance. Solicitor, would you like to?
I would like to make a few comments about this with respect to this ordinance. First of all, I'd like to say I'm not sure who is going to be sponsoring this on behalf of the chief, but this was elevated to my attention, and the chief asked that we consider this. And I think, Chief, we modeled this after Bethany Beach.
Actually, it was, we took some stuff from Rehoboth Beach. Rehoboth Beach, their ordinance, I think that was the only town that we took a look at, that I could find something readily available, was Rehoboth Beach.
So essentially this is an ordinance to require permitting for First Amendment assemblies in town parks and town-owned property. And I would, and I don't know if I sent, I did notice an error on 77-3A. So if everybody would turn to that. It should say all First Amendment assemblies in town parks and on town-owned land are prohibited. Okay, because this, we only have the ability to legislate that with respect, and we have to be very careful about obviously restricting free speech. And the whole purpose of this ordinance is not to restrict free speech, but to make sure that free speech assemblies are held in such a manner that the chief can police them and that they can be safe. So the idea is that if you're going to hold a First Amendment assembly in a town park where there are children, or if you're going to hold it on the premises of the administrative offices where we have police cars coming in and out and police activity, that we want to know about it in advance, and we want you to get a permit. And that's essentially the gist of this. It's a safety measure. But I did want, if anybody, whoever is introducing this ordinance, I would ask that you introduce it as amended, as I just related, with respect to adding the language to 77-3A to make it clear that this ordinance restricts assemblies in town parks and town-owned land.
Okay, thank you. Well, this is just the first reading, so.
Yes.
This is introduction.
This is introduction.
I'm sorry, introduction, yeah.
Do we need someone to actually take ownership of introduction?
Somebody should.
Yeah, somebody should introduce it.
We would
Doesn't have to
recommend,
be,
we would request that someone do so.
Yeah, no vote, just.
No vote.
Right. Does anyone want to sponsor this ordinance?
Why would,
It just gets it into play, so to speak.
Well, and I think that the reasoning behind it is to give us a little bit of control over our, town-owned properties. Yeah, and the other thing it does too is it avoids potential conflict. For example, the town rents out the pavilion for birthday parties. We could have a group that's rented the park out in advance for a birthday party, and then all of a sudden there's some spontaneous group that decides to hold a rally here in the park. And this would, help us avoid some of those conflict, give us a little bit more control. Although it's been a long time since we had anything major. I think the last big rally, if you will, in John West Park was, had to do with us getting a traffic light here at West Avenue. We actually wound up with a couple hundred people here in the park, and the end result of that was we got our traffic light on. But it has been a while, but there's a lot of stuff been going on in the area, and I think it's just a good thing to do to make sure that we've got the town has a little bit of control over the park.
I believe in being proactive, absolutely, and would love to read through it. It's hard to sponsor something that I haven't read through. That's,
Well, I don't know,
Sponsoring, you're just introducing.
Yeah, we're just
It's
introducing, we
introducing
still have to have
We're
two
not
votes.
sponsoring it.
it gets to, we don't actually have bill sponsorship like the legislature, but introduction gets it into play so that now at first reading and second reading, changes can be made before it's voted on or not.
All you have to do is read the title of the, under one, where it says, introduction of ordinances, read number 1, and that introduces it.
And if nobody's prepared to do that, you can read it and introduce it next time if that's necessary.
give me a second.
So are you introducing it, Steve?
Give me a second.
Anybody can.
Yeah.
And we designed this to not be something that was gonna be prohibitive in any way. For example, there's a $100 permit fee. I mean, we set it up so that it would be very affordable. We're not, trying to limit anybody's rights to, have the First Amendment assembly in the park. We just want to make sure that we've got, if it's something that's going to be large scale, for example, that we've got police protection. Matt and his crew is aware we might have trash cleanup, costs like that the town would be able to recover if it was a large event.
Again, I agree with this. Rehoboth has been struggling with the size of the crowds down.
And the time restrictions,
And they weren't following any of it, and of course, the public in and access out of Rehoboth has been marred.
Yep.
Businesses suffered greatly.
we want to try to, this is going to help us avoid that.
So, with that being said, I think it's a great idea, whereas the town of Ocean View recognizes and respects the rights of individuals to engage in peaceful First Amendment activities, including assemblies, protests, and demonstrations. And I introduced this on the table for further discussion and drafting of ordinance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to
Secretary.
discussion, consideration, possible voting on a recurring contract awards for fiscal year '26.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm bringing this recommendation to council to ensure awareness and also to adherence to our code and our charter. Our code and our charter have some sections that maybe conflict with each other in some ways. So with an abundance of caution, I wanted to bring to you the customary things that we engage with contracts. So the recurring contract awards with their expenditures, I have that listing. It's everything from facility cleaning services, lawn mowing, legal services. Actually, our payments to our health, the state of Delaware for health, our electric payments, things like that do exceed $7,500. But of course, some of them we don't even have a choice. For instance, with our electric provider and things like that. So bringing them to your attention, further point out that section 3.105 of for appropriations from the town charter allows that no public money may be expended without having the approval of the town council from the effective date of that budget, which of course took place last month. for this coming fiscal year. And general amounts stated therein as proposed expenditures shall be and become appropriated for the same general objects and purposes named therein. These are all examples of that. All of this information and these numbers were included in the budget that you approved. So funds to support the above noted contractual and/or recurring services expenditures are included in the FY26 budget approved last month, and they are each year and have been approved by Mayor and Council in advance to the start of the new fiscal year. So it's recommended that Mayor and Council acknowledge these recurring contracts and annual expenditures, thereby authorizing they be continued as necessary to maintain town operations. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So this recommendation is to give you the authority to sign of these contracts above and beyond the amount that you are allowed to sign without getting approval.
With an abundance of caution and a difference of opinion, and in continuing our past policies and processes, until we hash out and get to charter change to make sure there's exact words in the charter and the code. I'm going to do this every year until then. I don't think we'll have to do it past this year, but we've already missed this legislative session. There's no way we could get a charter change through for this year. So in my viewpoint, this is the best way for me to make sure that you're aware. I think you were. You certainly know we get our buildings clean. You certainly know we pay our electric bill and everything else in the list. And all of that information was approved in the budget. Of course, I read the charter language. So, yes.
Have we approved health benefits separately in the past?
No.
No. So why are we doing that now?
Again, abundance of caution because of code and charter, depending on your interpretation.
Okay.
Abundance of caution of what?
To make sure, when the charter change review is going forward, the solicitor identified that maybe every single thing should go through for council approval, even these recurring type things. The language is confusing between the two.
Within the
charter and the code. Our operations for many years have been
because all these are approved with the adoption of the budget.
Exactly. That's why I read the charter section, because I believe that's why it has always been handled the way these types of things. As you know, we come to you with everything else that's over $7,500. Anything new that comes up. Last month we were here with the HVAC, but when presented with this dilemma, this is Carol Houck's decision that we're going to have belts and suspenders, and we're going to do this until such time that we can get to the legislator, because charter changes go through the legislature, and
Let's go through twice, doesn't it? Or is it just once?
just once for this year.
States twice.
Yeah, so, but there's no way with their docket already that, that we're getting anything. And we're not even prepared. I've sent information to Veronica, the solicitor, for what I think mirrors what our successful process has been, and also gets the language matching, so there could be no mistake.
Okay, let me ask you, if the cost of the utilities or any of these contracts exceed the amount you put here, what do we do then?
If we have anything that, during the course of the year, in Dawn's reporting, if we suddenly realize that something's trending higher, we're back at it with you. Okay, so I think in the past year since I've been here, maybe when when gas prices were up, I think we had to have conversations about that. It doesn't happen often.
Well, I can see that it might happen. I mean, you get utilities and the electric bills. I mean, they could be above that.
Well, we also, when we're doing the budget, we forecast, and we usually forecast higher.
As it currently, so now, is it, as it currently is being done within the budget process, or you come back to the council, is that hindering, hurting, helping you, or you're just looking for the future to take some items out of the,
No hindrance, happy with the way things are. The recommendation I made is to raise it to 10,000.
from the 75?
From the 75, and we got information from different towns. Again, that'll all come before you before it goes to charter change. But, you know, again, I believe that the charter language identifies that you've already approved these things. These regular customary type things, and, you know, I can list them out if you want me to, but it's before you. Cleaning services, lawn care services, computer backup services, the town solicitor's services, audit services, which I put that here, but you do approve that, and you approved 3-year contracts. So, internet and cable, okay, we only have one choice for that. Health benefits, one choice. Electric, one choice. Phones, Verizon. Property assessments, 5-year contracts already been approved.
Carol, excuse me a second. Yeah, you said something, one choice. So with this change or charter change, and let's say we go to 10,000, does it give you the ability to change company?
No, I mean, we always have the ability to change if there's options.
Right.
And we, but these are items that we looked at. Anything that we spent $7,500 or more that doesn't have like an annual contract that we bring to you. Okay?
Okay.
And that's what this list is. Everything else we bring to you. That's why it's recurring contract awards. The big problem is differences of opinion about what charter and code say and the charter language that I read. But we're going to get it crystal clear for the future.
Okay,
Okay.
I got it.
Again, belts and suspenders, that's why this is before you, right after you approve the budget. Okay? To make sure that we're all on the same page and that you do know, which I know you do, that we're doing all these things.
I don't see a light item for belts and suspenders.
The police probably have some of that.
So you don't need a,
I just want you to acknowledge that, that I brought this to your attention, and this is how, until such time that we are able to get a charter change, and on the tail of that, modify the ordinance, the code. So everybody's on the same page, that this is how we're gonna handle it. Okay?
okay, so we acknowledge and agree.
Okay. I appreciate it. No vote necessary, just bringing it to your attention.
You don't need a motion?
No motion necessary. I think enough has already been said.
All right, so we're going to move to the second citizen privilege. Anything further? Hearing none, at this point, we're going to move into executive session. You're welcome to stay, but it might take 10 minutes, it might take 30 minutes, so it's up to you. I'm just giving the audience a choice. You don't have a choice.
Motion to go into executive session?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
so fast, thank you.
We need to go. And
session again.
Do I hear a motion to come out of executive session?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Now we need a motion to go back into regular session. Oh, I thought we needed 2 motions. Okay,
Two, one was going into exec, one was coming out.
okay, thank you. Now I call the regular meeting of the council back in session. Do we have any action that we want to take following the executive session?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to support the town's manager's recommendation to include project completion performance bonuses in the final accounting to the USDA for the town manager, the finance director, and planning and development director.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So passes 4-0. Are there any other motions?
Yes. Based upon discussions in the executive session, I move we settle the lien on 30 Brighton Street in accordance with the settlement agreement approved by the town manager and town solicitor.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So passes 4-0. At this point, we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.